proceeding.
We almost started a podcast at that time.
You almost
we talked about it.
Schulz?
Me and Schulz were going to do a podcast, but I remember just thinking like, this isn't going to work. We can't do a remote podcast. When I think about it now, we totally could have, but
I feel like it would have been close to Brilliant Idiots, maybe. Like,
yeah, how would it have been?
Not black enough.
He was so early on though that it was like he was kind of just willing to take shots with anything. I think like he was just trying whatever.
That's what Brilliant Idiots era was. That was when he was on Guy Code and shit. It was like, he had like shots.
4 different pilots on MTV. He didn't even give a fuck about most of them. He was just trying to see what would stick.
But you want to know the Charlamagne lore that somebody told me the other day that I didn't actually like. I didn't put this together in my head at the time, but like basically, Charlamagne was the edgiest fucking podcaster. He was saying all the most wild ass shit to people and offending them and making them walk off, talking to girls about how their pussy smell, yada yada. And then
radio host.
But then he he gets canceled for his old shit from back in the day with the girl or whatever. And then he takes multiple months off from Brilliant Idiots. During that time period, Schulz starts really focusing on Flagrant. And meanwhile, Charlamagne invents a whole new persona that is not as edgy. So when people say like, oh, Charlamagne's not as, like it used to be, it's kind of like fully because of that. And then when you see Flagrant being like one of the biggest podcasts in the world and Schulz like arguably being way bigger than Charlamagne, that's directly the product.
Bigger, but
but either way, that's like the product of that time period with him taking time off, because I think that Brilliant Idiots was like Schulz's priority at that time.
When did he take time off?
I think Charlamagne took a couple months off when he like got canceled.
He took like it's not really. Yeah, well, I would say
they deleted mad old episodes of Brilliant Idiots.
They purged a lot of episodes for sure. They definitely did. I wouldn't even say that's lore. That's just fact.
See, I didn't even know any of that until somebody told me the other day, and I'm like, that is insane to think that one cancellation resulted in Schulz's podcast blowing the fuck up and Charlamagne taking on a totally different persona on camera.
It was a lot that happened because it wasn't just that. It was he was going so hard on the radio. And then that came up and wouldn't go away. That was probably that was this most damaging thing. Like he was beating all the sniffing seats after the guests left out. Like, you know what I mean? Like those were all just like flashes in the wind. They were pissed at him for 3 days. That was the one that like, and that one still doesn't go away. Honestly, like if anything happens, I feel like that one always has odds of coming back up. That's like his Tahiri thing. You know what I mean? Like, that's his story.
The incident. And it's weird because it's always the same fucking story. The same shit happened to Tupac. It wasn't me. It was the homies in the other room. It's always the homies in the other room.
Tupac, like
that's why I have single beds.
One of the greatest artists in the history of rap music, and it's like you talk about him, and like an outsized percentage of the time, you end up talking about this random ass case that nobody seems to remember the details of, and in which
that he actually served time
as far as I understand, he didn't do anything improper. His friends did.
So. Who knows? But yeah, that's not even lore. That he straight up switched, and that was the mental health thing and all that stuff. And then the books got booming.
I'm about to say the White House cares about him now. That's crazy. That's like I didn't ever expect the day that like Charlamagne would start to become a politician. You know what I mean? Especially from where he came from. You know, the whole like, you know.
I did. I
guess in India ass.
Well, if it depends on who you're comparing to. Like between Charlamagne and Adam, it's like obviously we know.
Well, there's nobody else in hip hop that talks to like mainstream political candidates with any kind of regularity besides him.
Exactly. Yes, for sure.